is very low.
Is this better now? The voice? Is my voice better?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. So, so when we talk about design and thinking, it is our own thinking as a designer which we have to bring in. And by design thinking, what we are trying to do is we are trying to design solutions to people's problems. Okay. So when we are doing this, we involve the people whose problem we are trying to solve. At every step, we are actually talking to them. So this is not something which we are doing on our own. We are not trying to assume it's something that our customers have a certain problem, which is something we have assumed, and we start developing a solution to it. That's not at all the way we do it. It clearly involves people itself at every stage of the process, and we will find out, right? We will see how this is being done. Just to give you an example at the beginning. Uh, this is a product of design thinking process. What you see in front of you is an MRI machine, or you can say CT scan, which was especially designed to get the imaging done of children, of small children. If any one of you has ever got a imaging scan done, an MRI or a CT scan,
Yes, sir.
I'm sure you can recollect it. It's a bit scary, isn't
Yes,
it?
sir. The process is very scary.
You feel a little claustrophobic going into that machine, and you're kind of surrounded by that machine. It's all over your head, and you can't see anything else, right? So it can
Yes.
become really scary for small children. So some of the designers of this machine, they came up with this with a solution, or maybe a hospital came up with a solution that for children, how do we make it less scary? How do we give them the comfort? So what they did was they designed the room itself like a pirate ship. This is like uh, that movie, the pirate movie, right? Pirates of the Caribbean or something like that. They designed it like that so that uh, when the child enters, they start with a story that this is what you're going to do. You're going to enter the ship, and we will have interesting things to do over there. That kind of a thing. Do you see some extra lines on the slide or something?
So extra lines as in the pointer.
Yes, sir. No, sir. We can
Besides the
see some
pointer,
of the drawing.
besides, sorry, besides the
We
pointer,
can.
yeah, can you confirm it too? Because I can see some extra things on the screen. I don't know where they're
Yes,
coming
sir. The
from.
black lines, yes, they're
Black
visible.
lines.
Yeah,
Yes.
I don't know where this has come from.
So maybe someone has annotated something.
Uh, from your screen, you mean? Do you
So
have those kind of
like
controls?
so
Sorry? Yeah, tell me.
yes, we have. But before the meeting, you can choose out the option to not to letters.
Let me see what I can do. Okay. Let me see if it happens again. Then I'll have to do something. Give me a couple of seconds. I'm just trying to fix this. Okay, got it. Now they won't be able to do it. Whoever tried it. Okay, fine. let's continue. So how was this designing solution to this problem of children? It came from personal experiences with the person who's having a problem, right? So in this case, it's the children, and so these service providers in the MRI room, they came up with the solution. So like that, using this process of design thinking, you can design and solve the problem of different types. Okay. So let us understand what are the core principles of design thinking. The core principles of design thinking are: number one, addressing ill-defined and wicked problems. Then reframing or restructuring the problems. Okay, so whenever you define the problem, you don't just define it, you also reframe it or restructure it. Then you start focusing on the solution as opposed to focusing on the problem itself. Okay, so you need to have a solution-centered approach. Then you do abductive inference, prioritizing the best possible one and not necessarily a wholly satisfactory one. So when you come up with solution, you come up with all kinds of possible solutions. And then you implement the best possible solution or not the one which you are satisfied with. You understand? The customer has to be satisfied. It has to fit the requirements of the customer. Okay. And of course, the process of design thinking involves a lot of oscillation, a lot of movement between thinking about the problem and about the solution. So you keep going from one to the other. It's an iterative process, which means that first you find the solution, then you improve the solution, and you keep going back, right? Till you have the final solution or the final product. You also communicate a lot through graphical representations, drawings, and sketches. So in design thinking, you use these tools a lot. Sketches, graphical representation, which is something you show to your teammates as well as to the customer back and forth. Till you have, everyone finalizes the designs, everyone finalizes the solution, and then you go ahead and implement them. So let us understand what are typically the steps. So let's see the step-by-step approach to design thinking. This is what it looks like. This is the framework for design thinking process. The step number one is empathize. You empathize with the customer. What do you mean by empathizing? Empathizing is when you understand the problems of any human being and
from their perspective.
And you feel the problem like they are feeling it, right? It's one step beyond just sympathizing. You see it from their shoes. If you get into their shoes and try to understand the problem from their point of view. That is empathizing. So this is step number one. After empathizing, you go to step number two, which is defining. So you define the problem. This is how it flows. Like it's an infinite loop. Can you see it? So it from empathize, it goes to define. So now you define the problem which you have heard in the first step. When you started empathizing, you started speaking to the customer. They told you about their problems, right? So now you define it properly, okay? And then you go to step number three, which is you ideate upon the solutions. You come up with different ideas about what are the possible solutions to this problem, okay? And you discuss these solutions back with the customer and later with your team, right? So you have to involve the customer at each and every stage of the design thinking process. Did you get it? Did you understand? Step number one, empathize. Step number two, define the problem. Number three, ideate upon the possible solutions. Okay. So innovation is born from a clash of ideas. So you have a lot of ideas. Don't try to shortlist an idea. Kind of, it's a brainstorming on ideas, and keep on writing those ideas, keep making sketches, etc., and go back to the customer to discuss them. Then you go to step number 4, which is create a prototype. Okay. So what do you mean by a prototype? Anyone? What is a prototype?
A prototype is any sort of like a first design, which is like a starting point for anything which is going to be developed further.
Yes, it's almost like a model. If you create a
Yes.
model, before making the final product, you create a model, and you show it to your customer as well as to your team before you start making the product. So prototype gives you a broad idea on how the solution is going to work, how the product is going to work, and it's not a final and complete product at all. It's a working model basically. Okay. Now, after making the prototype, you go to the customer in step number 5 and you test this prototype. Right? This is step number 5. So when you go to the customer for testing, the customer will use this solution, spend some time with it and come back to you with any kinds of feedback on how the prototype is. Is this clear? So it's a 5-step process, design thinking. Starts with empathizing, then defining, then ideating on the solution. So defining the problem, ideating on the possible solutions. Okay. Then out of those solutions, you select the best one and prototype on that, right? After prototyping, you go to the customer and test it with the customer and to get the feedback. And based on the feedback, you again begin this cycle of ideating and prototyping. So this cycle will continue. That's why they call it an iterative process. Let me illustrate with an example. In step 1, empathize, let us say that you are trying to solve problems of older people. So let's say you feel that older people have a lot of problems. So can I help them with anything? So you go and you conduct interviews of elderly in your family and in your neighborhood or any older person that you know, right? So you start interviewing them. You start talking to them and trying to understand what are the problems they are facing at their age. So typically they will tell you that they have a problem in mobility, right? So they have an issue with mobility, and so you try to find out what exactly is the problem they have in mobility. So they will tell you in different situations what kind of problems they have faced. Let's say while walking, how have they stumbled or they have faced a problem in cobbled roads, etc. Or while coming down the staircase, what kind of mobility issues do they have, right? And you're thinking about all these problems and making notes, right, all the time. And about different social situations that the older people may have found themselves into, or maybe, somebody tried to get up and they fell from their mobility device, like a walker or something they were using, right? And then you take a similar interview with different kinds of people, right? Don't just stop at one, because a lot of people who have similar problems, you should talk to them. And you empathize, you keep making notes, you keep noting down what are the issues they are telling you, and don't make a comment at this point. You just understand and you empathize at this stage. Okay. So when you have conducted a lot of interviews and you have a clear idea about what kind of issues they are facing, you go to the next step, which is you define the problem. Okay. Now, when you are trying to define the problem, so you come up with the exact definition, you make a list of the problems they are facing. For example, when the problem could be that they just want to be mobile so that they can be in touch with other people of their generation. Some older people may be feeling lonely, so you list it down. Okay, one of the problem is they feel lonely, they need to socialize. Another problem could be they need to go shopping, right? They need to go shopping, and so they need a mobility because of that, for that. And this is the socializing situation, and this is they're going for a walk in the park. So when you have made a list of the problems, that these are the problems they face in all these different social situations, right? Now you are ready to ideate upon possible solutions. So this kind of prepares a statement for you, which is the output of the defined state. It is called the problem statement. You will hear this word very often in the startup world when you start talking to people who are just starting out, or to people who are trying to design products and solutions. They will talk about what is the problem statement. Generally people talk about, okay, tell me what is the problem statement. So everything starts with a problem statement. So the problem statement could be that the older people want to stay in touch with, or they want to socialize, but because of their walking devices, they have a mobility problem, right? So that is the problem statement. So that means you need to come up with better mobility devices, right? It could be a walker, it could be anything, a walking stick or a walking help or whatever it is, right? So after you have got a problem statement, now you need to go and ideate upon the possible solutions, or the possible products you could come up with, possible ways you could solve this problem. So you start brainstorming, and you don't have to do it alone. You have to involve your other teammates also. You start ideating upon, okay, what are the possible solutions, and you have all kinds of wild solutions. Don't judge any possible solution at this time. You have to brainstorm. Okay, I hope you all know the process of brainstorming, when everyone sits together in a team and everyone gives their own ideas upon the solution of a problem, and you just make a note of all these solutions. You don't make any judgments at that time. So the solutions can be wild as possible. They could be as wacky. You don't have to make a judgment, right? It could be virtual reality for the older people, that how instead of making them walk, you can do a virtual reality walkthroughs with them. Or how can you create a hoverboard for the elderly people? All kinds of crazy solutions you can think of right now. You don't have to implement them, but no harm in brainstorming on the crazy solutions, right? And of course, the regular solution like this, different walkers, different kind of wheelchairs. And then what you do is, when you have ideated, you have done the brainstorming exercise, now you start selecting the possible solutions out of this. You can't be, if there are 100 possible solutions you've come up with, you can't be implementing all 100. You can't be sketching all 100, right? Then after that, you need to basically shortlist the possible solutions. When you shortlist, and then you come up with the best solution which you think is the best, and you sketch it. So you make these sketches like this, different kinds of sketches. You go back to the customer and show these sketches to the customer. Because right now, at this time, at this stage, you don't have anything else. You don't have a prototype or something. You're just making the sketches of the solution, right? So in this case, since it's a product, you have got some sketches made of the possible product, and gone back to the customers you started with and discussing with them. So you show to them that this is what it's going to look like. So please, and you seek their opinion about what they feel. Take their feedback, do a discussion, and make notes, and see what they are saying about these solutions. Okay. In the next stage, you have to. So when in the previous stage of ideation, now whatever sketches have been finalized after making whatever smaller changes, you have to go to the next stage now and create prototypes of this. So let us say what you do is when you're creating prototypes, you have to link your new thinking with the existing solution. So if this is the existing solution of a walking cane, you have to sort of fit your new solution around that. So you can link them together, right? And try to develop something which is already existing with sort of by improvising on it, right? So, so maybe linking these two, you come up with this, right? So this is this kind of a device, a walking stick or a walker. It could have a wheel underneath it. It could, have cushioning on top. It could, you could change the size of it, bring it up and down, kind of resize it. You could have a bag hanging on it, maybe some to carry stuff and things like that. So keep on adding a couple of things like that and come up with several prototypes. So one after the other. So show these prototypes again to the customer, right? Go back and show these customers and take their opinion, right? So after you, I think I've skipped. Sorry, there's a fifth stage also. The testing stage. That slide has been skipped by mistake. Okay, instead of prototype, it should be testing. Okay, no problem. So after you have created the prototype, you go to the next stage, which is the testing stage. Okay. So in this testing stage, which is step number 5, you take the prototype, not the final product. You take the prototype and ask your customer to test it, right? In real life situation, and keep on making notes about what they're saying. Okay. So you again gather their feedback, you gather their opinion, and you go back to your lab and you design the final product after the product. And when you have made this product, since it has gone through such an iterative process of development, and you have taken the feedback, customer feedback at every point, that this is going to be almost like the final product which you are ready to launch. So when you launch this product, now you're ready to change the world on open shop or whatever you need to do, right? So you're ready to launch your business. So basically, this kind of process of design thinking helps you to either launch a new business or to redevelop product or to develop new products or to improvise on existing products, right? So this is the 5-step process of design thinking. Any questions so far?
No, sir.
Here is an example also given in your book. You haven't received your book, but once you get it, you'll be able to see it. There's a uh, there's a group of friends, 2 friends based in US. They were in some university. I'm forgetting the name of the university now. They got together and they created a new product through design thinking. They were given a problem that the problem statement they were trying to solve is that a lot of people have a problem of running out of the charge of their mobile, right? And when the mobile runs out of charge very frequently, they need to find um, a charging point. And when they are on the move, it's difficult to get a charging point. And the existing solution which is there is the battery pack. The battery pack is a little bulky, so some of the students and younger people, they don't want to carry it. So what could be the possible solution? The solution they came up with was called the OptiVolt. They came up with a back cover of the for the mobile, which is charging through solar. So they used a solar back cover, which would snap onto your existing back cover, and there will be a charging point. There will be a small battery inside it, and it just snap on to your back cover, and it will charge through solar. So you just keep it on the through light. It will keep on charging the battery inside the solar cover, and whenever you need to recharge your mobile, you just plug into this battery and it will recharge. So that's the solution they came up with, right? OptiVolt. this OptiVolt will be just reading about their case also. It's a very interesting case. How this student, and they got funding also in the incubator based out of their university. And they did well eventually. I don't know what is the, I think the business is pivoted now. They've gone on to making other products also. We'll find out about it, right? So just to go a little deeper about the in the empathy interview, when you're taking interview with the potential customers, right? At on the empathy stage, you ask why even the answer may seem obvious, right? Ask questions that encourage people to tell stories. So you have to form these interview questions, which are kind of going to solicit stories from the customers or the people you're talking to, right? For example, if when you were trying to have an interview with the elderly people, you would say, okay, sir, can you tell us about a typical day in the market when you last went to the market? What was your experience like? What all did you do? So when they are quoting those experiences, when they start talking to you, they usually come up with the problems they faced, right? So you have to get inside their daily lives, or the user's life, how at what stage they would have faced this problem. And during this interview, you should also pay attention to non-verbal cues like periods of silence, their body language, etc. Okay, so when you're talking to the people, they will be silent for some time and they would have exhibited a certain body language. So take cues from this, and you have to observe. You have to be a very keen observer and very smart observer and keep on making notes. Okay, quite like Sherlock Holmes, almost like Sherlock Holmes, and this requires a little practice. So the more people you meet, the more practice you will get, right? Then look for inconsistencies, as inconsistencies reveal interesting insights. So sometimes when you're talking to some people, they may say that, okay, when they went to the market, they had one kind of experience, but when they went for a walking, maybe there was another experience which is not consistent with the problem they were trying to state in the first place, which is okay. For you, you don't have to make any judgments. uh, all you can do is just listen to the story and ask clarifying questions if you can, right? But do not suggest answers to the questions. When you are asking the question, let them answer on their own. You don't have to suggest, okay, sir, is this the experience you're getting? Don't try to put words in their mouth, or don't try to lead the interview. Okay, is that understood? Then your questions should be open-ended. You know, rather than questions that can be answered by a yes or no or a single word, you should ask open-ended questions. So you shouldn't say, you shouldn't ask questions like, sir, did you face a problem when you went to the cash counter? That's a yes no answer. It won't give you a proper answer. You say, so what happened when you got to the cash counter? That's an open-ended question, right? Now that will elicit the response, the kind of response you're looking for when you're trying to define the problem. Okay. Now this is a kind of empathy map which you create. Yeah. This is a sort of an empathy map you can create. What the customer says, you note over here in this quadrant. What the customer is thinking, you note over here. What the customer is feeling and doing, right? In these 4 quadrants. So let's say, for example, when a customer goes to buy a TV, a customer called Jane, she goes to purchase a TV, right? A television. And this customer starts her interaction with the salesperson of the showroom she walks into, and she asks questions like, "I want something reliable," right? or what do you think about this TV, or what size is best to the customer, right? So these kind of questions is something which one has to make notes of. Whereas the customer may be thinking about something else, right? So she may be thinking things like, I'm wasting too much of my time. Maybe this isn't the best place for me, or too many acronyms are being thrown at. Maybe the salesman is using a lot of jargon which she doesn't understand, or I want something awesome. So she's not verbalizing a lot of things which is on her mind, right? So as a result of this, she ends up feeling overwhelmed, excited, fearful, inadequate, anxious, unsure of who to trust. So this is a kind of an empathy map which you can create of a customer. This will help you in designing the solutions or in handling the customer. So as you can see, it even applies to situations like, you know, like buying a TV. Even when you go out to buy an appliance, it can apply to those situations also, design thinking. It is not just restricted to creating new products. It can be extended to finding solution to other problems also, like how to make an effective sales of televisions, right? Because even in showrooms, a customer may be walking from one to the other. What exactly is she looking for? Sometimes they don't realize what is going on in the minds of the customers. So they have to start using the design thinking process for that also, right? All the 5 steps of the design thinking. So what are the uses of design thinking? So design thinking can be used in various places. One is to develop new products, which we just saw when we went to interview the older people and try to solve their problems by designing new products. So let's say a new mobilizer, a new walker for them, right? It can also be used to improve processes. For example, buying a television is a process we want to improve. Or let's say, even in the current COVID situation, right? Uh, when a person, I'm taking a bad example, we are all overwhelmed by this pandemic. So let me just get down to this. Uh, when somebody gets COVID, right? What is the process that patient has to take so that the patient doesn't face any hardships? So maybe the hospitals and the healthcare people have to design a solution for that. And it involves the design thinking process, right? So they have to improve their process that, okay, on day one, this is what needs to be done. So let's say it's a 14-day virus, right? So you design a solution for each of the 14 days. That on day one, if this happens, this is what you do. If you have fever up to 101, this is what you need to do. Your oxygen levels are. So you design a sort of a process to improve the care and management of COVID patients. So that means this design thinking process can be used even to uh, improve these kind of processes. Then it can be used to improve user interfaces. For example, if you are using a certain app, let's say you're using a mobile app of Flipkart. Now, if you notice, if you use Flipkart and Amazon, to buy products, some people have a preference of one app over the other. Like for me personally, I prefer to shop on Amazon. I hardly ever go to Flipkart. I think I don't like their design. I don't like their user interface. There is something about the user interface that puts me off, right? But maybe Flipkart doesn't know that. It doesn't realize that it's not the products, but it's the user interface. So maybe if they think deeper and they improve on the user interface, it'll bring back a lot of customers, right? So you can use design thinking to improve the user interface. It can be used for education. Obviously, when you find problems and you come up with solutions to educate people, right? It can be used by public institutions. Yes, extensively it can be used by public institutions like municipal corporations. It can be used by the police department, all public institutions. In fact, out of India, in India, maybe a lot of public institutions don't use it, but I'm aware in the US and Canada, they use design thinking. In fact, they have courses for public sector employees. They have to know design thinking thoroughly, and they have to keep on using it, in the day-to-day life. That's how seriously they take design thinking. Right? End of the session. We will implement this design thinking on the case which I'm going to discuss with you now. There is a business case of OptiVolt, which I just showed you in one of the slides. I'm just going to bring it up in front of you. Let's discuss this case and answer questions based on this case. Are you with me,
Yes.
students?
Yes, sir.
I hope you're not sleeping after a heavy lunch or something.
No, sir.
Okay, what do you see on the screen?
OptiVolt Labs.
I'm sorry, I'm not able to see who's speaking because I have to-
OptiVolt Labs.
Okay, so OptiVolt's lab is the case which we are going to discuss today. So I would like to have some volunteer to read this case, please. Anyone wants to volunteer?
I'll read it, sir.
When you say I, can I know your name because I don't have the.
So,
Sorry.
can I read it?
Yeah, who's saying that? I'm not able to see your name. I'm sorry.
So, Shaina.
Shaina. Okay, Shaina, please go ahead.
OptiVolt Labs is a startup founded by Rohit Kalyanpur and Paul Costin. They use design thinking to solve a problem faced by many. It relates to wireless charging of mobile phones. Heavy usage of mobile phones leads to draining of the battery, and people are fed up of moving around with power cords and power banks to charge their phones. With over 7 billion phones in the world, this is a large opportunity. There have been several attempts to solve this problem: charging plates, battery packs, solar and motion chargers, etc. But none of them have really struck a chord with the users. Based on their empathy interviews, Rohit and Paul identified the following customer needs: wireless, self-charging, lightweight, portable, efficient, flexibility to work everywhere. On the basis of these customer needs, they came up with Particle, a wireless solar battery phone case, which meets all these requirements. The charger has been built into the phone case, hence not needing any wires in its wireless. It uses solar power so that it does not need to be plugged in, and hence it's self-charging. The phone case is both slim and lightweight. It is a portable, as the outer battery can be detached from the phone and charged if needed. It charges faster than most of the other solar chargers and is much more efficient. It has the flexibility to work anywhere, as it can be used in both indoor lighting and natural sunlight for charging. According to Rohit, they would never have thought of a dual case design unless they conducted empathy interviews and tested prototypes. The dual case allows charging to be done away from the phone and to stop charging when the phone is fully charged.
Thank you so much, Shaina. Has everyone understood this case? This story of OptiVolt? Do you have any questions? So did they, so my question is, before we go on to the questions written here, my question is, what did they follow all the 5 steps of design thinking?
So can you repeat your question?
My question is, did OptiVolt or did these two founders, Rohit and Paul, did they follow the 5 steps of design thinking process when they came up with this design, with new product?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what were those steps? What was the outcome of the empathy interview? The step number 1 is empathy, right? What was the outcome of
They
that?
were able to understand the main problem and the needs that is required for their product to work.
So what are those? If you can just name them.
So they wanted a wireless charger, which is very portable and light, and it does not require us to plug in every single time. So these were things that were taken into consideration to those empathy interviews.
Something that is self-charging as batteries drain after certain point of time.
Okay. So this was the outcome of empathy interviews. So after empathy, what is step number 2 in the design thinking process?
Define.
Okay. So what did they define? What did they define as the
Part.
problems? So when we say define, we
So
sort
the
of
problem
define,
what
we come up with a
defined
problem
was
statement. Yeah. So what was the problem statement they would have come up with?
that
Yes.
the phones are not getting charged properly, or the charge is getting drained out easily.
Okay.
And also due to the fact that people don't want to carry battery charges with them, or something like a
Power banks, etc.
power banks. Yes.
Okay. Okay. So with this problem statement, what was the next thing they did?
Ideate.
Okay. And how did they ideate? What all ideas did they come up with?
So they came up with particle, a wireless phone case, which is light at the same time. It can charge faster in indoor lighting and as well as natural lighting.
It's even portable and efficient.
Okay. And after ideating on this possible solutions, what is the next step they would have done?
Prototype.
Yeah. Does it mention any prototyping in this case anywhere? Can you
So
see
could
So
you
in
this?
the end,
Sorry.
So could you repeat your question?
Does it mention the word prototype anywhere in this case? Anywhere on the screen? It's just a small case. Yeah, it's there on the screen.
What they did.
They did
it did in the end.
in the end.
I mean,
Empathy interviews and tested prototypes.
yes.
Okay. Do you think they would have used prototyping for this product?
So they had to because it's a electrical
Electronic.
sorry?
Electronic.
Yeah, it's an electronic thing. So they would require prototypes of this.
How do you think they would have prototyped? Just try to imagine it. What
So they would
tools
have
would they have used? What tools to prototype?
So like they said that there were charging plates and battery packs and solar motion chargers. They took up the technology. They might have took up the technology from that and added some new things to it, like a new element to it. So also keeping in mind that they wanted a lightweight and portable charger. So obviously when you have to develop a new idea, you have to look at your old or current products as well. So the prototype helps building on that.
Fine. So let us answer the questions. Who do you think is the intended target customer for this product? The particle.
So corporates and millennials,
Operates.
Corporates.
corporates and millennials both. Like
What kind of corporates do you think?
so who have a very
Who have heavy load, who have heavy mobile load work, especially who need to travel a lot, especially
Okay, people
those
who are
type
on
of
the move, basically.
corporates.
That's what you're saying, right?
Certainly, sir.
When you say corporates, do you mean companies are going to buy these or individuals are going to buy it?
no
So
sir. So
individuals, because they are working for the
people who are
company.
working.
Okay, so the working people, employees of, whatever, people who are mobile, maybe, right? They have on the move, basically. Is that what you're saying? What about
Yes.
students? Do you think students are going to need this product?
At this
So not
particular
in
time,
all,
definitely.
not in all situations, but sometimes even they are a part of this.
OTP പറഞ്ഞ ജസ്റ്റിനെ സംസാരിച്ചോണ്ടിരിക്കുകയാണ്.
I'm sorry?
Sorry.
I think there's a side conversation. By mistake, somebody has unmuted. Okay. And so the customers you're saying is working people, who are in the corporate segment. Then number two, you're saying students, some of the students, maybe college students, and any other target customers for this product?
So people, if I can be specific on this, like people who are always on their phone, for example, people who are into marketing or PR, because they constantly have to make contacts on their phone, attend calls. So I think a lot of industries need this.
Okay. Any other segment which you are, so you mean, is this a widely used product? Is this something which is a mass product kind of a thing? Do you think that?
So I haven't heard about solar chargers till now. I've heard about motion chargers, and there's a similar design where you have to charge the phone. Then you have to charge the battery and then attach it to the phone. But this is the first time I'm hearing about a solar charger.
If you're hearing it for the first time, it means probably you don't need it. Otherwise, you would have explored it, right? Do you think you need it personally?
Everyone does require a wireless charger in this time because, for example, if I'm attending a meeting or something on my phone, I might have to keep it plugged. I might have to keep my phone plugged in through a wire charger because of the length. So the length, if I already have a back charger accordingly, if I'm working somewhere, if I have to go out and travel, so I think it would be beneficial, but it's not a need necessary for me.
Okay.
But for people who are always on the move, I think.
So mostly it's required for the people who are on the move, right? Who are going from one place to another. Because first of all, finding a charging point may be a problem for them, right? If you are traveling for a long time in a day, then you have more need for this, isn't it?
Yes, sir. This actually reminds me of one incident where I went on a family vacation to Singapore, and on the Changi airport, my phone battery, my phone died. There wasn't any battery in there, so we had time to we had some time in our hand at that time. So there was these motion chargers where you had to cycle to charge your phone. I had to cycle for around 15-20 minutes to get
Okay. I've seen the
increase the
video.
limited charge on my phone. Yes.
So it's like a fixed cycle, right? An exercise cycle.
Yeah, it's like a fixed cycle.
Yeah, you just sit on it and you keep pedaling and it'll charge your phone.
Yes,
Is that
sir.
what you're talking about? Yeah, that's interesting. So it keeps you fit while you're charging your phone, right? So
Yes.
you have to work hard to sort of charge your phone.
Yes, sir, because the bookings were done through my phone and my phone died, so I had to do that.
Good. That's a good experience. Thanks for sharing. Okay, question number 2. Do you see any problem with the product? Do you see any problem with this charger?
So I think heating might be a problem with this.
Heating,
If it's a
okay.
solar charger and it attracts heat to your phone, on your phone, if you're working on your phone as well, your phone gets heated up as well. So I think heating would be might be a problem for this product.
Why do you feel it will face a heating problem, more than other chargers?
Sorry, sir.
Why do you feel it will have more of a heating problem than any other charger?
So there are different things to it. Like, for example, when the news came in when Samsung phones had started to blow up because of their lithium-ion battery.
My
So
God,
you might
blow
not
up
know.
means they literally exploded or something?
Yes, sir. So there was a case where this specific batch of Samsung phones were bursting. So they were actually exploding because of the batteries out of extreme heating. So
Yeah, I think some airports had started refusing these phones.
yes, sir. That is why now
Yeah,
the batteries
I
are not
remember that.
permitted, like while flying. So
Okay, fine. Any other problems do you anticipate with this product?
Sir, I think the charging won't be as fast as a power bank.
Hmm?
The charging system won't be as fast as a power bank.
Okay, okay.
Because it's a very small case, and the thing with charging is that the bigger the battery, the more electricity it can,
Store.
transfer and all of that.
Can store also more power, right? If you have a 10,000 milliamp charger versus I don't know how many milliamps it is. But if the milliamps are stay same, it will charge. Maybe it just doesn't have fast charging. If that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay. Any other problems?
So, can I add something?
Yes, please.
Though cost is not mentioned over here, but I feel that it will be pretty expensive, so not everyone would go for it.
Okay. So assuming the cost is higher than the regular power bank,
I
it will
I
be a
feel
problem, right?
this.
Okay. Great. So I think you've more or less answered all the questions. So I wanted to show you a video of an interesting design application which is on YouTube. So what I'm going to do is I'm not very sure if I'll be able to show properly or not. Let me see if I can do that. Just give me a few seconds, okay? I'm just going to. I hope the video and audio plays properly. Otherwise, I can send you the link and one of you can play it. Let me just pull it up first. Can one of you attach your PCs? I mean, can you play it on your PC and we can watch it? Is that possible?
oh, sorry, I couldn't hear you.
Can I give the control to one of the students to play this video on the Zoom Discord?
So you can send it to either I think Rushali. Rushali, can you do that?
I'm using my phone and I can
So
try. Sir,
so
I
you
can try
either
once.
okay. If Rushali's doesn't work, you can send it to me.
I can share it on the group. That's not a problem. Anyone can pick it up from the group. So here
So
it
I can
goes.
try because I'm using both devices right now. So I can try. Maybe it works on my laptop.
Okay, just go to your group, WhatsApp group. I have shared this link, YouTube link, and play this video and share the audio and video with us. I'll give you the control to do that also.
Yes. Please give me a minute. So can you give me the sharing rights?
Okay, hold on. Okay, can you do it now?
Yes, sir.
Just try it out.
Can you see my screen?
So you have to quit your share screening.
Okay, hold on. Oh, I'll come my share. No, but I'll stop my share. Now you try it. Okay, just try it out.
Yes, sir.
Who's doing it? Vishali, you're doing it?
Yes, sir.
Do share the audio also now.
Can you please tell me how we're supposed to do that? I have no clue about this.
Vishali, एक बार share screening stop कर.
Just
Okay.
when you try, before you sharing the screen, you have to select the share audio also. Allow it.
When you again do the share screening option, बगल में नीचे tick option आता है which says share computer audio.
Okay. हाँ, done. Do that. 1 second.
And mute yourself after that.
1 second.
Yeah, this is the video.
Is it clear?
Play it and then yeah, it's clear.
Welcome everyone to IDM. What we want to do is demonstrate the state-of-the-art product design and development process by redesigning the elderly walker. I'm Matt Cressy, Director of the Integrated Design and Management Program at the Massachusetts Institute of Technology. The IDM program integrates design, engineering, and business. Desirability, viability, and feasibility. By combining these disciplines, we create new-to-the-world products that are desirable, feasible, viable, and sustainable. IDM brings the design process to the MIT Sloan School of Management and the School of Engineering.
I'm going to develop a new product or service, but I need some investment. Business thrives on innovation. To develop a successful new product requires a team with the technical, management, and design skills to create a competitive offering in the global market of goods and services.
Here at IDM, we teach a human-centered design process in a studio environment with a cohort comprised of designers, engineers, business people, and entrepreneurs. To fully illustrate the power of this design process, we asked our friends at Altitude, a world-class design firm in Somerville, Massachusetts, to demonstrate this process on a project.
These things have been around forever. I don't think I've ever seen a different model than this one.
My grandmother would push this thing down the hallway, 2 tennis balls on it for friction. She hated it.
There's been a shift in who composes this market.
The baby boomer generation started turning age 65 about 5 years ago.
Yeah. We're in information gathering
right
now, right?
Yeah.
We're just starting to soak on this.
Yeah. We're hoping that we can really dig into a lot of these assumptions and either prove them or disprove them.
We got more questions than answers at this point.
Yeah.
Those would be out. Yeah,
That might be why it's. Yeah.
Of like the move it and then go to it.
Let's go explore this problem. Let's talk to those stakeholders we just mapped out. Reconvene at Altitude Studios for our next meeting and see what we uncover.
Altitude is the design and innovation consulting firm. We help our clients connect deeply with the people they serve to create the products and services that people love. We work with MIT on this video program to illustrate the process of human-centered design. This process is at the heart of everything we do at Altitude. We believe that through a deeper understanding of people, we can identify and create more successful solutions for people, companies, and society.
Accenture helps companies develop new, smart connected products, services, and business models. The starting point for innovation is truly understanding people and how we can create meaningful value.
To start, we begin by reviewing existing products and try and see it from the user's point of view.
The active rate.
It looks wobbly.
Yeah.
Hey, June, what do you find?
so interesting thing to see.
So the brake isn't really working here that well. Okay.
Yeah.
There's more than just your typical walker. There's kind of your standard walker. You've got a rolling walker, but then you've got these things with a rollator and then different versions of rollators.
So when I walk for a longer distance, I feel very tired. And lately, I feel I need to be very careful about my balance. Let's go to Suma for dinner.
Meeting with people who use walkers, we talk, interview, observe, and empathize. We try to get into their world and see it through their eyes.
But I still like my type because you have sturdy wheels, good storage compartment for whatever you need to carry, and also you can sit down on the seat.
Empathy. Design thinking is a human-centered approach. We truly connect with the people we are trying to serve. We try to understand them at an emotional level and what's going on with their lives and what really matters to them.
When you just walk around, it doesn't matter how heavy it is. It's only when you want to transport it, you want it lighter.
Coming here to North Hill today, we're able to observe how walkers fit into their lives and really understand what's important to them. The interviews help us develop empathy for the people we're trying to understand.
Very often the walker that's issued, that's paid for by insurance, has small wheels, and they often have rubber tips at the back. So they're really difficult to go over a smooth surface. And it just becomes more difficult for them to push. So they start to look at different options.
The gates, a lot of times I will teach people to walk heel toe and not shuffle to pick up their feet. A lot of times people feel like if they have a walker, they don't need to pick up their feet.
To understand what it's like to be someone buying a walker, you need to experience how they are sold. What are the people buying walkers looking for?
Nobody likes the idea, geez, now I'm at the point in my life that I need to use a walker or rollator. So they come in and their first thing is, oh, I just want the basic, something very simple, something that's not going to bring a lot of attention to myself. So they usually want to look at a standard walker. However, in other cases, they're kind of beyond that, and they need something with four wheels, a seat, and something that has a braking system, which is very important. The rollators have that braking system. A standard walker does not.
We went to Jim's house. He showed us around a little bit.
Through an analysis of the interviews, patterns emerge that uncover meaningful insights and inform the opportunity.
You can see that he doesn't even really use his walker. He was prescribed one. He was actually
Can you see this Excel sheet now?
Yes, sir.
Just to prove that I was taking the class. Okay, I'll start with Delhi. Let's see the data of Delhi. So this
So
is
do
what
we have to do for each of this, like each company that we do?
Incubator. So I would suggest you do one for each student. So if there are 8
So
students,
how many want?
if there are, okay, so hold on, let me finish. If there are 8 students in the batch, you do 8 incubators and accelerators. One student should at least do one thoroughly. Is it clear?
Yes, sir. So we have to fill in the sheet that you just made us see before, the description of the data fields, where each member does one incubator and one accelerator, right?
Okay, hold on. Let me repeat. The step number 1 is you make the list of all the incubators and accelerators in your city. Don't leave any. If there are 100 incubators and accelerators, you have to make a list of 100. Because I know how many are there in each city and I can point out if you missed any. Okay. So you make that list. That you have to do exhaustively for the entire city. All the incubators. Now the the advanced level details, like, let me show you. Up to the contact details you have to do for everything. Okay. So name of the facilities, the type of facility, whether it's an incubator or an accelerator, their website, then about the facility, what kind of facilities they are giving in the incubator. For example, I'll just give you an example here. This is not relevant. So let's just say this IIT Delhi Innovation and Incubation Center, which is which is located in Triple IIT Delhi. It's in Okhla, I think. They have co-working space. So over here, you write they have a co-working space. They have individual cabins for startups, and they provide a high-speed internet. You know, 1 gigabyte, for example, 24 hours of power supply, so on and so forth. This information you can find on their website itself, right? Now, address also you will find, city, you write here, phone number, email, and the list of startups. Some startups which are being incubated. Yeah.
Sorry to disturb you, sir. I'm logging in again from my laptop. There is this connectivity issue. Could you please let me in? Madhav Arora, sir.
Madhav, you're already inside the Zoom meeting. I can see you here.
Sir, actually your voice is breaking for me, so I'm just trying to log in again.
Is it breaking for anyone else?
No, sir, that's because of my bandwidth.
Okay, so what do you want to do? I've not understood. What do you want to do? You want to log out? Okay, I think he's coming back. Okay. So I was explaining that, and then you come to this column number L, which is list of some startups which are being incubated and already graduated. So over here, if you see this example again of Triple IT Delhi, I have mentioned over here some startup names. For example, Go Bike, which is a bike rental company. Pricely is data analytics to law firms. Then there is another company called Swapco Management. Okay, it is into waste management and scrap collection. Then there is Circle of Life, which is into health management. Like that, you just write the name of a few companies, at least 10 to 12, with the nature of their business. Is this clear? Column number L. Then you come to column number M. So let us say from M onwards. So from M onwards, these three columns, you do one student should get for one incubator. So I want a minimum of 8 to 10 for each city. These details. What details? Any seed funding provided? Are they providing any kind of seed funding to the startups? Seed funding means the initial capital you need when you enter the incubator. Let us say they're giving up to 15 lakh rupees. Then you mention that, yes, we can get up to 15 lakhs. Then in the next column, column number N, you have to give the criteria for selection. So what is their application process, criteria for selection? So these three columns, which I'm going to now, okay, let me just highlight it with the color yellow. These each student has to do for minimum of one incubator or one accelerator. For this, you may have to call them, speak to the manager and get this data. Are you providing any seed funding? What is the criteria for select? So tell them that you are interested with your group to get into the incubator or accelerator. If you tell them on the phone that you're doing some kind of a research project for your school, they'll say you're wasting their time and they will not give you this data. Is this clear? So please, you need to call them. That's why you got the phone numbers. Use those phone numbers, call them, speak to them and get this data. Then in the end, whoever gets these this data, so you are going to divide the work among yourselves. So the student should write his name in the last column. Data source by student name. Please write your name over here so that we know which student has provided this data. And if we need any clarification, we can contact that student for clarification. Is this clear now? Everything
Yes,
is
sir.
clear?
Just one doubt. So as you mentioned that you, as many accelerators and incubators there are in the city, so except the last three columns, we suppose in Bangalore, if there's 91 incubators and 43 accelerators, we need to fill the information for all of them.
Yes, absolutely. For each one of them. Except for the
And
ones where
except
you
the-
call them. When if you need to
Except
call
the last
somebody,
three columns, we need to fill rest of the information.
the last two columns, because
The last two
the
columns.
very
Yeah,
last,
the last two
column is
columns.
your own name. So just
Yes,
before
sir.
that, whatever information you need on the phone. So if you need to call somebody for getting the information, that you do for only one incubator or only one accelerator per student. The rest of the information which is available on the internet and you can download, you make a list of all the incubators. Then there is no limit to that. You got it?
Okay, sir.
Is this clear now?
Yes, sir.
So when is the submission to this?
Submission will be the end of this week. I'm going to put a submission date now. So you can imagine by the Sunday.
So-
I think I've already put a submission date on the Sunday. For this coming Sunday. Yeah, what?
So
Any-
can we work on an extension because we have a lot of assignments built up on this week and a lot of submissions, and this is a group work which might take a few meetings and everything to coordinate.
Why do you need to do meetings? I mean, just decide who is going to do what and have a shared document, and everyone can keep on adding into that shared document. So there is no duplicacy. You can even go by alphabetical order. So let's say there are 8 students in the batch. I'll tell you how to simplify this. You just divide them by alphabets. You say, okay, fine. From A to E, the student number 1 will do it. Student number 2 will do from E on from F to so and so. So alphabetical names of the institutions you can divide. That you do for these alphabets, you do from those alphabets, and that will simplify. That was the idea of creating the group leaders, because so that you can drive these kind of decisions.
So, just a small thing. Actually, we have a lot of assignments and submissions this week. If this could be shifted to next week, it would be a great help.
So what is happening is next week you have another assignment based on the next class. So in the class after today, you will be doing ideation, and there will be the assignment based on idea. Then how will you do this? You won't be able to do them together. So you tell me a way out. You have a lot of time till Sunday. How long will this take actually? I don't think it will take that long to get this data. What do you say? You have another 6 days. Any other questions? This is the description of each data field I have given here on this sheet. Name of the facility, what you have to write, etc. Something which is obvious, like website, you just write there. I've not explained. Other things I've explained also. If you want, I can take up the example of one of these incubators. You can go to the website and just see how it is. Would you like to do that? Do you have any incubator in mind which you would like to see the website, and I can take you through the data and just to let you know how to do this? Let me show you for IIT Bombay. Yeah, sign. Just give me a few seconds. I will share my screen with you. Let me know if my voice starts falling. Are you able to hear me clearly?
Yes, sir.
It's time to bring up the website of Sign Bombay. Yeah, I have it with me now. Share that screen. Can you see this? The website of Sign Incubator in IIT Bombay. So let us say now we are looking for the company, the startups which are already running in Sign Bombay. Where should I look for it in these menus? Where will it show me? It will be under portfolio. If I go to portfolio, it will show me the portfolio of startups which are already existing in Sign Bombay, and maybe some of them would have graduated also. Let us see. So as you can see over here, these are all in one screen, but otherwise you can filter it as per their industry also, like clean tech, fintech, IoT, IT, ICT, medtech, etc. Right? So if I do now, they've got it in alphabetical orders. So you just select out of this and give the names and their nature of work. So let's say you say, okay, fine. There's a company called Const Robotics Private Limited. It deals with technology integration through computer vision, AI, sensor, whatever this and that, right? Or anything interesting you come across, you just make a list. Just take this name and the nature of business they're doing. That's all we want. Then over here it's mentioned seed support. So just go there. And under seed support, you will find what kind of funding or support they are giving you at the seed stage. So you can see here, there is a 3D foundry. Okay, so these are some of the companies who are receiving seed support, who have been given seed support. This is the list of them. And these are some organizations who have probably provided them seed support, like BIRAC is an organization, company, CSR, DST is Department of Science and Technology, like that. TDB is Technology Development Board, I think that's what it is. So these are the organizations, government organizations who are supporting some of the companies, right? Let's see. It will see, it is even written who's supporting them. So this company, Apeiron Mobility, is supported by DST. DST is Department of Science and Technology. And this one is supported by CSR, Corporate Social Responsibility, some funding which has come from CSR. So these companies would have got funding from these bodies, government bodies. Some of them are government bodies. So this is the unique case of IIT Bombay Incubator called SIGN. This is the name of the incubator, SIGN. I think it is a full form of SIGN, the Center for some whatever innovation, N&E. There is a full form. Just look it up. So you will find all the information on the websites. Mostly there are, because all these incubators and accelerators, they have invested crores in bringing up these facilities. So I'm sure that website is the first thing they developed, and they would have given most of the information on the website itself. Okay, is this clear? These are some of the investors. The CSR is coming from these companies. International support is also coming. Sign like that. You have to explore this. Is this clear to everyone? Any questions? Okay, let's go back. So that's it for today. Let me take your attendance. If you have any questions in the meantime, please go ahead and ask. Something has started. I don't know. Okay. Hold on. Are you able to hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I'm just going to take your attendance now, and if you have any questions about your project, please go ahead and ask. So is it now, can you manage to submit it by this Sunday? It's not a major work if you really look at it. Just have to spend some time. I think after you have done dividing among each other, I mean each one of you, you will have to put in a maximum of 3 to 4 hours each person. That's the maximum I'm seeing. I mean, that's probably the worst case scenario.
So we'll try.
Try.
So actually, the thing is that we have classes till 4:30, and then we have other programs that are done by college. Plus, we have back-to-back assignments from other subjects as well. So we've been asking like our batch coordinator to at least match the schedules of assessments that you guys are putting, like assignments and assessments, in a way that we have a room to complete one assessment or two assessments at a time. But having 3 to 4 assessments in a week is something that we're not able to cope up with. So that is
So how many
that is what
assignments?
our concern is.
Okay, so how many do you have for this week?
So we have interior, we have entrepreneurship, we have HRM, and we also have one more. I forgot the name. What was it? We have service operations ka case study at night as well. And then
when were they given to you?
So these are given in the these were given last week, and the submissions are starting like this week and the next week. We also have accounting as well. There are so many group assignments given to, and all of these, only one is an individual assignment. Rest of them are group assignments. So we have at least like 4 different groups in which we have to coordinate into having meetings for the day, which makes it very difficult for us. So we were planning to discuss this with our batch coordinator. So
So
we'll
do you
talk to her about
prefer
this.
individual assignments to group assignments?
So we don't have problems with either individual or group, but it's just that it's it's on
We just
Zoom.
need
So
time actually.
So we need time because we have to assign meetings for different subjects, for different assignments at times. We have classes all day, then we have other activities apart from academics as well, which all of us are into. So it does take a lot of time.
Yeah,
Like
I think
every single day.
What are
So
your
every
timings?
single day there are people. So our classes start at 10. Then we have one class to 10 to 12. We have another class from 2:30 to 4:30. Then some of us have iShine, which is another program. So like on every single day or average, I get free by an average of 8 o'clock at night, because we have societies as well, 8 to 9 o'clock at night.
What do you
And
have?
we start at 10 in the morning.
Okay. So I think you have to discuss this with the coordinator. Who's the coordinator?
Smita ma'am. So we are going to have a word with her. If you want to have a word with her, that's completely fine. But we have a meeting tonight.
We have a subject.
With Smita ma'am on this.
Okay, you discuss it with her, and then let me know what was the outcome of this discussion. I'll also mention it to her, and let me see after you guys have a discussion with each other, then I can take it up with her. So you're saying tonight you're having that discussion, right?
Yes, sir. Tonight we have a subject review meeting.
So I'll take it up with her tomorrow. Fine.
Okay, sir.
In the meantime,
Thank you
you
so
take
much,
it
sir.
as you're welcome. But the thing is that any subject is going to be beneficial for you only once you do some assignments of it or some projects, because these are all hands-on
So we
subjects.
don't mind assignments. We're not saying that we don't want assignments, or that assignments are something that helps us work together, but just in a way that it doesn't clash with every other subject, and that too online, it makes it more difficult. We don't have problems with assignments. We're used to doing assignments.
Okay, so you just organize it for now and start doing it in whatever spare time you have. At least get started. Don't look at wait for it to get delayed. Get started. I've already explained the requirement of the whole thing. I've sent you all the formats. There's nothing pending from my side. You guys need to download the data and just start working on it. I mean, it's simple as that.
Yes, sir. We'll start working on
Okay.
that.
Then we can discuss later if you have any challenges.
Okay, sir. Thank
Okay.
you.
Okay.
Thank you so much, sir.
Okay. You're welcome. See you all. Have a good week.